Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And tomorrow may become a very interesting day for all Satori players. Because after a long wait, Satori is finally receiving his relics and Guardians. If these abilities arrive exactly as shown, we may be looking at a version of Satori that becomes faster, more consistent, more dangerous, and perhaps most importantly, much harder to stop. Now before we begin, remember one thing. This is a first look. We do not have the relics in-game yet. We have not tested them. We have not seen how they perform against the current meta. So today we're simply taking our first look at the information available, and discussing what immediately stands out. And Guardians. There are definitely some things that stand out. Let's start with the very first relic ability. Searing Claws. Unlocked at relic level 1. Every 17 seconds, Satori deals magic damage to all enemies carrying foxfire marks without removing those marks. And if no enemies have marks, he automatically applies 6 marks to every enemy. Now Guardians. This is immediately interesting. Because one of the biggest challenges for Satori has always been building pressure before delivering his devastating explosions. This relic helps accelerate that process dramatically. Either enemies already have marks and immediately take additional damage, or they don't have marks and Satori instantly starts building them himself. In other words, less waiting, more pressure, and much faster setup for what Satori wants to do. Then we move to relic level 10. Ravenous Pack and Guardians. This may be one of the most impactful upgrades on the entire page. When Ravenous Pack activates, Satori removes all negative effects from himself and becomes immune to new debuffs while the skill remains active. Read that again. Removes all negative effects and becomes immune. This is huge. Because one of the biggest ways players deal with Satori is through control. Slows, debuffs, disruption, preventing him from reaching his dangerous moments. This relic directly attacks that weakness. Suddenly Satori becomes much harder to contain, much harder to control, and much harder to shut down. Then at relic level 20 we have Spirit Banishment. A simpler upgrade on paper, but potentially very powerful. Spirit Banishment now applies 1 additional mark. And Guardians. Satori players already understand why this matters. More marks means more pressure. More marks means more damage. And more marks means enemies reach dangerous territory much faster. Sometimes a single additional mark is the difference between surviving and being eliminated. Then finally we arrive at relic level 30. Cunning Fox. And this one is extremely interesting. Enemies carrying 4 or more foxfire marks deal reduced damage to Satori. Now Guardians. This changes the relationship between Satori and the enemy team completely. Because the more marks he spreads, the safer he becomes. The more pressure he creates, the more protection he receives. And suddenly Satori isn't just becoming an offensive threat. He's becoming harder to kill at the same time. That combination is always dangerous. Very dangerous. And when we put everything together, a pattern immediately appears. More marks. More damage. More consistency. More survivability. More resistance to control. Everything seems designed to help Satori do what Satori already does best. Punish enemies carrying foxfire marks. Now Guardians. Does this mean Satori immediately becomes one of the strongest heroes in the game? We don't know yet. Does this mean he will dominate every battlefield? Again, we don't know yet. Because numbers matter. Testing matters. Team compositions matter. And tomorrow we finally begin getting those answers. But one thing is certain. These relics appear designed to remove several of Satori's biggest weaknesses while amplifying the strengths that made players love him in the first place. And honestly, Guardians, that is exactly what many Satori players have been hoping for. So tomorrow we will be back. We'll test them. We'll analyze them. We'll see how they interact with the current meta. We'll see which teams benefit the most. And most importantly, we'll discover whether the Fox is truly ready to return to the top ranks. Until then, Guardians, let us know what you think. Are you excited about these relics? Do you think Satori is finally getting the boost he needed? Or do you think we should wait for testing before getting too excited? Tomorrow we'll have the answers. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.